What's up, folks? I'm Odd, by the way. So today we're going to be doing another Pokemon piece, but in this case, I'm going to be doing something a little bit, I guess, different. I feel like I say this every video. But in this case, so as per usual, I guess, I've been gone a little while, probably no longer than I usually am. Seems about every month I do actually find some means of making one of these videos, which is good. It's consistent. But it just feels like lately I just haven't been able to, find any sort of drive to do art. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily burnout, but, I could not, for the life of me, grasp the vibe. And it was a thing for a good little while that I just, I would sit down and I'd maybe even have the intention to draw, and it would just be one of those moments where my brain is so frustrated that I just can't, I cannot physically force myself to draw. It's a lot, and it sucks, and it's kind of a part, I think, of my developmental process with art, is that I just have these moments of high and low productivity, but I hate it, and I always want to draw. I just don't have the mental capacity to, find something that I can vibe with for a long enough period of time to draw. And the other day, I found these colored pencils at work, and I was kind of inspired to use them to create something, I guess, just insanely cute. And I came to this want to draw something in a sort of, I don't know, I got like vintage Americana cute, Cupid doll cute slash little golden books, just old style, big-headed, adorable, weird baby creature designs. So after that, I came to the realization that I was like, yeah, I could probably make a video surrounding this, and I got the idea to draw Pokemon that way. And I thought that it would be kind of an interesting challenge, an interesting, style shift to just kind of get out of my comfort zone. And, it is cute. It's very, very cute in a kind of unsettling way now, to me, honestly. That it's, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of, the Christmas critters from South Park. It gives me that vibe. Oh, we're so cute. There's nothing behind these eyes. We're soulless. We have no souls. And it definitely does not compete by any means with the original Pokemon designs, but damn me if I did not have a drive to draw something, and apparently this was my punishment for asking the muses for something to do, and they were like, here you go! You're so damn impatient, have this. And so I did it. And at least I don't hate this, and I think that it was super fun and cute to do and stuff like that, but it's just, I don't know, looking at it as oh, that's a lot. Did I really do this? But regardless, I did initially plan this out where I was doodling a couple Pokemon in my sketchbook, and my surefire ones were obviously Pikachu and Eevee, which are titular Pokemon at this point. They're sort of, dual mascots now? I mean, it was Blue's Pokemon. It was Blue's Pokemon in the second generation. You know, his main deal, and of course you always got Red and Blue kind of side by side, and each of them has their iconic Pokemon. I think it's adorable, honestly. It's so fun. And beside that, I guess I just wound up kind of going for a Kanto vibe, which is interesting for me, which, I guess when you want to start doing Pokemon, the first notion is to do Kanto, is to do Gen 1, because those are the most recognizable Pokemon. Those are the ones that, at the very least, you could still have a memory bank for. So I just decided to start with Pikachu, Eevee, and the initial 3 starters. Charmander, I think, was a pretty simple stage, and then, Bulbasaur, I think its sketch wasn't initially a problem, but I did wind up kind of struggling with it as I came back with the lines. But my brain went to kind of what we saw in Detective Pikachu. By far, my favorite scene in all of existence in that movie is the introduction of the little Bulbasaurs and their little squeakies. And they look like little, flower onion babies. So I wanted to do something like that with the bud on Bulbasaur's back. So it's got kind of little, flower stems coming out of the top. I wanted to give myself a little bit more of a challenge and do like the evolutions, and I was like, who else could I do in this little like mural of Pokemon? And I decided to go for Magikarp and Gyarados. So yeah, it turned into this whole thing of like trying to figure out, how am I going to make Gyarados look like that? Capital L, capital T. And because Magikarp wasn't too hard, and it got kind of like this, you know, like that classic fishy face and stuff like that. And I gave it a little like fish-shaped tear because like nobody likes Magikarp classic way, and it just looked so like, it looked too goofy to me. Like it still had like kind of meh vibe, and like the second sketch that I wound up doing for Gyarados definitely wasn't as much of an improvement, but it felt to me like at least it kind of fit the vibe a little bit more, because along with stylizing these Pokemon as heavily as I did in this direction, I also kind of chibi-fied them. So I made them smaller, made a lot of features rounder, a lot of their like main features very emphasized, while other ones were very cute and tiny. Like a good example, I guess, would be with Charizard, where it's just like a bean basically at this point, with his big fire tail and kind of the same head as Charmander with the little spikes on the back. I think the one that changed the least really overall was Blastoise, because I wound up basically giving it the same design in the back, you know, with the little cannons. I just made them a little bit tinier. And of course its face still kind of looks just like Squirtle with like a little bit of improvement. I think the same is to be said with Venusaur. I wound up getting this hair to just start trying to color these in like I would like a traditional piece. It's a little bit more difficult, at least for me, in terms of digital art to do that. My like hand was cramping up like crazy, so like about midway through I started to get a little bit like quote unquote lazy and just do it my normal way. But like these are still all pretty well like rendered all on one layer, and that's definitely different for me. And it does give this kind of old-fashioned vibe to them, I think. I also went in with, and this is something that I liked for this style, that I did with, I think, some ponies, or I drew like the main six from the Gen 4 My Little Pony cast. That was up on my Twitter. But the way that I found to do this in digital art form was that I had the pencil and basically like made the texture density very low to create this kind of grainy pencil effect in the line art. And I think that turned out really well in terms of just like making it look old-fashioned, because that was another goal, was to kind of make it look like, I guess, if like the States had designed Pokemon sometime in what, like the 60s. I don't know if I got it completely perfectly by any means, but like, I don't know, this feels like something that like a greeting card company would do. Kind of. Maybe. I guess it depends on the greeting card company. But definitely very, very stylized in a particular way. And I wanted it to kind of look like a greeting card, or like an old illustrative piece showing off all of these Pokemon, I guess. And that was kind of the direction that I wound up finding with this pencil method. So that was really fun. And then I wound up using, for the details and for the rendering and stuff like that, like the watercolor brush that I really like. I think I downloaded at one point. It's called Round Watercolor Brush. Actually, is that? Or is that something that comes with CSP? I always forget, but it's something that I kind of tend to make my way back to, and when it comes to like pieces like this where I'm doing something different than my initial style, and I really like it. It's really fun to work with. I think there are more that I like. Oh, of course, this is one that comes with CSP, because I haven't gotten any of my old brush engines back. I changed my computer. I totally forgot about that. I was like, wait, I thought that I had more than this, and then I remembered that was all on my laptop, and I'd switched all my stuff over to my new computer. Whoops! So, yes, the round watercolor brush that I used for shading and stuff here was definitely just pre-built in with CSP. So, I guess that's good to know. And I don't think I changed anything. I think I may have upped the texture density on this one from its original one, as opposed to made it, like, put it down, or maybe the other way, and I like put the watercolor edge way down, because I didn't need like the like dripping or like running watercolor effect. So about midway through this, mind you, I want to take you through a little bit of a journey that I went through over the past couple of weeks, beyond not being able to draw and stuff like that, not being able to find that nice vibe, when I had recorded the video for the snack box, I had set aside all of my digital art stuff shortly after I just got my computer, but I set my tablet lovingly and securely on top of my computer tower, and I may as well have comparatively thrown my pen over my shoulder with how much I had no idea where I kept it and what I did with it. I instantly forgot where I put my pen. And I don't mean like in, oh, I lost my pen, oh, there it is kind of way. I mean for weeks. I lost my pen. For weeks. And like, I guess I wasn't drawing, so it didn't necessarily matter, but I was still somewhat very stressed about it because it wasn't like I could simply do something. And currently I'm using an XP pen screen tablet, which is one of the cheaper ones in terms of, and still in high quality, but, and I actually really like this company. And the reason that I got into them was because my little brother somehow accidentally got sent 2 of their very basic graphics tablets, and I loved it. Recently, obviously retired it, like a year ago, I guess by now, because that's how long I've had this screen tablet. And thankfully, I still had the pen for it in my drawer, and it worked. Now, of course, the tracking was still all off, and it's not quite as, like, ergonomic. Like, it's just kind of this, like, round little thing, and it really hurt my hand. And as I was saying, I was going in by hand, again, for whatever reason, not using my fill method, to color these in, and my hand was getting so cramped. Like, I haven't drawn in forever, and you're making me do this. And at some point or another, I think I wound up standing up, like, I think maybe before I started drawing even, being like, okay, I would like my pen back, please. And I sat back down and I kept drawing, and then, like, I heard my cat do something in another room, so I stood up relatively quickly. And that motion must have, like, jostled something on my wall, because I think I put my pen up on my shelf, which makes sense now, but I swear I looked there. I swear. And when this thing fell down, it was like it fell from the ceiling. Like, something was just like, oh, okay, here's your pen back, and just dropped it. So, I don't know, I might have a goblin in my room. The results are still out on that. But I got my pen back. So, you know, I guess if you ever lose something that's making you go slightly crazy, maybe just scream into the void and the void will listen. That's what I've been learning lately. So there's one story, I guess, that's been going down. Other than that, I've just been kind of preoccupied by work. Wound up preparing for a series of night shifts that never happened. So that was fun. I guess that's kind of a life update. So, like, because I work for the park, and we have an outdoor ice rink, and there's this season basically where we're going out and we're flooding the ice rink so that it can freeze over, and it has a whole, like, refrigerant system and stuff like that. But, like, for the first couple of days, they need to get a good couple layers of ice down, and they take whole teams of people to do that. And I was scheduled to go on to that shift. The thing was for my shift, it was overnight. And the first time that I got there, it was already midway through the week, because that's when I come into work, and they were done. They were completely done, and nobody decided to tell me. It was basically like, yeah, we're just flooding stuff, and we're just doing our regular maintenance stuff while we're here, I guess. And we were only there for 4 hours. And I came in 4 hours that same day, or like 4 or 5 hours that same day, the next day. I went to bed, but it was 2 a.m., and I woke up and went in at 3 anyway. So I basically missed a day, because usually I would come in on Thursday, and my Thursday was technically Friday, if that makes any sense. So I finished basically a whole day Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm off again. It's a little frustrating. Actually, nobody at my work is happy with it, but it's been resolved to my knowledge. And the ice rink is going to be open next week when I get into work, so that will be cool. But it was just a little bit of stupidity, and I feel like it maybe threw off my sleep schedule completely, because I've been having a terrible time sleeping as well. And that has been life lately. Regardless, I think that things are about to be wrapping up here. You can see a lot of the characters kind of coming in. A couple of, like, finishing details, and probably my finishing up Gyarados. Gyarados wound up being last. for terms of like, I wanted to do a little bit of presentation and show you guys that last, but also like just because it was so difficult to figure out how to make cute. And like looking at it, it's still a little dopey, but I guess it's cute. I guess it's kind of, you know, fun. It's definitely something. It's got a big old lip. Now, what do you guys think about this style? Is it like saccharinely cute? Is it something that you would expect on the back of a greeting card, or is it slightly creepy? I'm kind of torn on this one. I like it. I think that it's adorable and it's fun to do, little like peanut heads and stuff like that, and like tiny bean bodies and very little detail, but then also a lot of detail. But at the same time, it wasn't something that I necessarily knew what to do with, and it wasn't something that I was used to, so I'm worried that it came out a little unsettling. I'm still not totally sure. Right now, they're just kind of all staring at me from my tablet, so I think I'm going to wrap this up here, show you guys the final results here, and yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'd be down to, honestly, at some point or another, come back to this and do a couple more Pokemon. Like, if you think that there's some, like, iconic Pokemon from Gen 2. Ooh. Yeah, I might do that anyway. I also need to finish up my Eevee series, but that's gonna be... oof. Probably, honestly, have to go back and redraw all of those. But, regardless, yeah. Ooh, are you excited for Gen 9? I'm so excited it's probably gonna come out within the next couple of days. Ooh. Yay! I get to see what Quaxly looks like. I haven't seen any of the spoilers. I know a lot of stuff is leaked. Okay, but I'm trying to keep myself relatively unspoiled because like my brother is the one that likes spoilers, and he's always kind of like smashing through the game, not talking to anybody and stuff like that, because he's got the Nuzlocke mentality down because he plays a lot of Pokemon. But like I like to kind of make my way through slowly and discover things on my own and like see Pokemon and be excited. I think that's why I liked Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield was definitely... I was still obviously upset by a lot of the things that Sword and Shield, like, did. But at the same time, it was the first time in a while that Pokemon kind of made me feel like a little kid discovering some things again. Legends Arceus was obviously another big one, but everyone's pretty happy with Legends Arceus. Sword and Shield felt good in the beginning. It felt whimsical. It felt different. And like seeing the Pokemon in the overworld and having them chase you down and being like, oh my god, even if this is like a little like Stuffle or something like that, you know, and like getting that like rush of adrenaline if a big Pokemon chases you. That was so cool. Oh, and the Yimpers that would follow you around were so cute. It was so great. Like, I just loved all that, and discovering all the Pokemon felt new again, and it was just perfect. Despite the fact that there were a lot of major flaws in the game and it felt way too small and unfinished, and there were a lot of easily scalable fences in the way of any sort of like secret progress. Like, I felt like there was supposed to be so much more, and each town just became like a little tiny bit of space that it just, you know, like I was never upset with Dexit. I was never upset with any of that, like, you know, like, oh, the Pokemon are dumb and the freaking like the trees and shit. I was upset that the size of the game seemed so much bigger and we got no scale in it at all. All of the towns were just kind of meh. And again, yeah, there were places that looked like you were supposed to go into with gates and fences and like easily passable areas, sometimes that weren't even blocked off at all, and you'd see something in the distance and you couldn't go to it. You would never go to it. That was so disappointing. But rants aside, and I'm probably going to have to cut this down, I'm very excited for Gen 9, and I'm very excited to see a game that seems a lot more like it's meant for the Switch, and a lot more influenced by Legends, and I'm just very happy to see more stuff. And I love the puppies. I love both of the puppies that they announced, because those ones weren't spoilers, those were like pre-releases, so I'm excited for the puppies, and I want to see what they evolve into. At that, I think that I'm going to leave this here. I'm probably going to have to edit down a lot of the stuff that I've just been rambling about, but I figured that I'd catch up and kind of, you know, I guess leave an update of Pokemon and life-wise to kind of throw this all together. So I hope that you enjoyed, and at that, I will see y'all next time. Hopefully that it will be sooner rather than later.